The Wannabes podcast, episode 21 of season 2. My name is JD.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Wassabi and JD. We're still in the same clothes from our commentary block because we just finished it.
Yep.
And I just, we called, we're gonna do a little debrief, and I was just like, yo, we should just record this. Like, we just got to do it live and then voice our thoughts, because I thought that was an amazing commentary block, and I still have my commentator voice right now. So, I'm gonna wind down and get low and into my podcast voice. But while I'm adjusting, what were your thoughts, JD?
Well, yeah, definitely a ton of positives for sure. I think what was really cool was that I felt like the part of my brain that's like, are we doing a good job, got check marked immediately, right? And then it was kind of all growth mindset from there, because this is a good event for us, a great event for us, an amazing slot.
It was important. It was an important event for us. Like, the minute the schedule came out and I messaged you, it was like, we have the road to top 8 block, dude.
Yeah.
Winner's side.
Yeah. So just an incredible opportunity for sure. And I think the bottom line is we did a great job. I think we brought what we had and didn't really leave much, right? So I think my mind right now, and the reason why I first off, I haven't had lunch yet. So I think I'm heading into that kind of afternoon drop in terms of energy. Yeah. I had a little bit of literally just a Clementine. So I'm going to just try to put everything in perspective about my tone and my energy and my thoughts.
And you're coming off of a high also, right?
True.
Like, it was such like we were really shoutcasting, honestly. So so I feel the same way. Like, we are definitely coming down from like a sort of commentary high. But I'm interested on your thoughts, because I think like there's a lot good, and like also part of us getting better, right? And the drama growth mindset is like, what also could we improve on? And I'll let you pick where you want to go first to start it off, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think and I hate to be, I'm not going to come out critical of you. I'm just going to, what you did was, I got feedback on, and I don't know yet what I could do better. I guess that's where I'm coming.
I think we can think of it as a duo though, right? And like, we were talking about this like off script as well. Like, when I watched that, I was just wanted to learn more about StarCraft, but like it ended up being focused on like Taste Hostess, right? One of the most legendary commentary duos in gaming. Is like, I feel like they talked about their block as a duo. So like, let's just like have at it and like
sure
and talk about it, because I feel like we're gonna be just doing more duo stuff. So why not just talk about it with like both of us, right?
Right. I think as a duo, a lot of the things that we pointed out and we talked about yesterday, we actually did a little fucking VOD analysis yesterday.
I was not expecting to do VOD analysis, and it became that. It was really funny. I was like laughing with Pilar about that afterwards.
I mean, as a duo, it was hilarious. I think what we did well kind of was, one, we just had a good foundation. I think that our articulation was good. I think we were really good at staying committed to the gameplay first and foremost. And so even though, yes, of course, sometimes we would have to finish a thought and it would trail into gameplay, I think that always happened at the appropriate time. I don't know if that ever got a hold of us, which to kind of just pin let's pin on that, right? So just like finishing thoughts, I think we did pretty well, and I want to revisit that as a topic. And then just, kind of going across the board, I think our handoffs were great. I think we were good with politeness on like, sorry to cut you off, or hold on 1 second. Like, those handoffs, I think, were really clean. And, I think maybe, and just to kind of put a pin on that as well, that's really just, I think over time we'll need less to be as explicit as we get more comfortable with that attitude. But I think in terms of pacing, the handoffs were quite good. I want to listen over to audio quality, because there's certain points we can't possibly know, such as like, um, is our microphone balance out of whack at certain times? If one of us is carrying more excitement, does that carry into the broadcast? So that's like something we can't even give feedback on right now because we didn't hear
or
the
just like our
broadcast.
mics peak or something like that. Like, I
That
definitely saw a red light flashing a few times during the hype moments.
Yeah, so that stuff is important and requires VOD analysis, and which is something I think we'll figure out over time as well. So not even a red flag there, just a call out, I suppose. And then I think a lot of the criticisms I had, I hate this, for the thing thoughts I had from you and things maybe I thought you could work on. They were more they were more abundant this time because the energy you brought was so good that I think it just was a little bit like little new for you, and then that came with a little bit of like collateral things to tweak. You know what I mean? Which,
yeah, of course.
But that is like the exact problem we want to have at this stage, because it's like we both have both sides, and I think today, just by virtue of what day or the way you woke up, I was able to carry on your coattails of energy, and we have the mode of reverse. We know that from the podcast, right? And talking. So I guess it's just because we're so new to commentary, that was perhaps one of the newer times where you were like firm energy lead, perfect. We have that mode. It's good. And just a few things because I was kind of on the back for a lot of it. A few things I could call out, but I won't do that now. That's just kind of general thoughts for now.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think like it was definitely something really new I was trying, so I don't expect it to be like super perfect, but obviously like I would love to like hear like your thoughts and then what you feel, and I feel like hashing it out like on the podcast is almost the purpose of the podcast.
Yeah.
But I also think like thinking about it a little bit more, I do wish we got to do like a little bit more analytical stuff, but it was just so hard to do because of like how fast the gameplay was. And I think that was like the part that I was struggling with, and possibly like maybe overcompensate with the hype and the storylines and the narratives, though I was really excited for that, obviously, because of just like the back end research that we did about these players and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I mean that came into play. The prep is like, I mean, obviously it's a high bar you set with the prep, so I don't think it's necessary to do every time if that's not kind of the capacity at that particular week.
Yeah, and for context, so viewers know,
sure,
I like reached out to Melee Stats and was like, hey, like, what are your thoughts going into the event? And then I had like a 10 question like questionnaire that I like reached out to like all the top players in the EU who I thought that we like see in bracket, and it would like be like both like standard questions like how long have you been playing, but also like interesting ones. I feel like what do you consider your biggest strength? What are your comfort zones? What do you think is underappreciated in your gameplay? And like I think the last one was, what are you working on currently? And I thought like that gave an insight to like the player and like their kind of mentality going in, and I thought that was really interesting. But that's the context, and you can continue now, JD.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the prep work just really gave us a lot of things to grab onto if we needed to. Funny enough, this particular block was just very bang bang bang, a few breaks of course, but between sets was just rapid, and so the times it did come in I thought were really high impact, so like absolutely worth it. And honestly, we still have those for those players. I mean, this is a running document. This is not a one and done. So having that info of just players' takes on things, I love. But yeah, I agree with you that I wish we had more time for analysis. I think just if we're going to sit on this, my first thought is kind of what I brought up in our off mic call yesterday, which was we have the first couple stocks of every game to slow down and be kind of above the match for a second. I mean, obviously, if something insane happens, we always got to bring it back. That's correct. But when it comes to flow of a viewer, like they're listening to us too. And so if we could hold attention and finish thoughts, that's kind of like the cutting point is when it's down to two stocks. This first and second stock of each game I think it's quite appropriate. Maybe if it's not game 5, if it's grand final, you know, obviously there's exceptions. But
Yeah.
for the blocks we're doing, I think that should be our standard that we could deviate from later. So finishing thoughts in between games, or bringing back thoughts
Hmm.
if it's last 2 stocks. And I think, again, not to call you out, this is something I've
Yeah,
noticed
of course.
that happened twice.
Yeah,
Where
yeah, no. Let's just, yeah. What are examples? I feel like that's the best way to learn. Also.
Sure, I think it's just as simple as you had the thought, and like I think you do have a better analysis brain than I do
Hmm.
when it comes to these concepts, and like I'm always so for it, but sometimes you just pick times that are a little too late to start that
Mm.
thought, and I think it's tough to decide which way to go, because you don't want to just abruptly end the thought. I don't want to cut you off for the gameplay. It's just
Hmm.
sometimes like, you know, the thought will end, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know, last stock edge guard happening, right? So in that case, if it's like a non-hype ending, I think it is fine to like continue the thought as a player cleans up game 2 or whatever. It's not like that's where the hard rule, I guess, kind of can dissolve, where okay, like a player's up 2 stocks to 1 until the comeback starts. If you are on a roll talking
Hmm.
about a concept, you could carry it on till the game ends, you know,
Yeah.
and then kind of maybe try to wrap it up before, you know, whatever. Like there's still that freedom, but
It lingered a little bit. I agree with that.
yeah,
I think like it either needed to be better timed or more concise. And I think that's the thing, right?
sure.
Like making things concise in Melee is like the hard part about it. So I like 100% agree with like that critique for sure.
Yeah,
I think like I was really
it's hard.
impressed with like your what?
It's
Oh,
just
no, don't
hard.
apologize.
It's hard to
Yeah,
do.
no, it's hard. Yeah.
Don't apologize. What were you gonna say? You're gonna compliment
Oh,
me.
I thought you said sorry, but I realized you said it's hard. Never mind.
Not apologizing.
Dude, it's so weird. I feel like I'm still in like the commentator, like back to you, JD, sort of mode. But
Right.
I'm really happy with like how the block went, and dude, you like your play by play and like kind of the I felt like you covered the middle part of like a lot of games really well, like in game stuff really well. Like I felt like I like subconsciously like handed it off to you, like especially when it was like 2 stocks to 2 or last stock or something like that, and I felt like um yeah, you covered like stock 2 and 3 so much, and I felt really good. And it was something that we talked about, right, of like not having dead air, and not necessarily being silenced, but like just like of both people engaged. And I felt like I could like confidently like hand it off to you and be like, all right, yeah, JD's gonna take it from here and let it run. And I thought you had a really good rants also.
Thanks. No, I'm really happy you said that. Want I want to review the VODs. It's hard. Listening to our
It's hard,
voices
yeah.
fucking sucks, but I want to desire that, because it's what I'm working on, right? It's, I think, one thing that Smash could use. Have you ever seen that Dota rap god meme where it's like a 2.5 minute Dota
I
fight?
have not. I have
I'll
not actually, yeah.
I'll send it to you, where this commentator is it pretty much, it's a 2 minute. You're not huge
Mhm.
into the MOBA scene, right? But
Yeah.
the fights there can be explosive and end in 30 seconds, or they could just drag out. And this one particular player was in a position to be just to outplay for like 2 minutes, an insanely long fight. And
Mhm.
it was just action upon action, so many things coming in, certain things missing, certain things miraculously hitting, players dying and buying back and coming back and dying again. And this guy, I'm getting chills. I'm literally getting chills thinking about this
That's
video,
crazy.
because I haven't watched it in a month and a half, so that's crazy for me. But he just covers all of it, and it's almost like, you know how there's a flow to what we were doing, where obviously hype is up here, analysis is more down here in terms of energy. The
Hmm.
floor for this guy was so high, but he still kept that storyline above that baseline. It
Hmm.
was not a static level of energy. And so I'm trying to see, because I think Melee can do it. And you know, it's a articulation challenge, it's a brain processing challenge, it's an improv plus freestyle rap adjacent skill challenge.
Hmm.
So I'm thankful that you were giving me space for that. And I was ready to go 50-50. And I acknowledge that you were allowing me to get a bit more reps in on that side. But to give you compliments, I only was able to kind of have that because the energy you brought let me pace myself throughout the broadcast. Because when you were talking about concepts, it was engaging. It was not the sort of like low tone talk about frames shit. It was like, yo, Wassabi is into this. Like, this is something he fucking enjoys. Like, you came in and you were talking about the percentages and you're like, yo, sorry to cut you off. He's at 65%. Like, that was huge. That's like
it's 62, but yeah.
Fuck off. Fuck you.
Come on, I'm just joshing. Continue.
I'm talking about a 2-stall backer, idiot. So
fair. Touche on that. Touche. I didn't specify. Continue. Sorry, I'm just joshing with you.
I had a quick save there, but basically, yeah, that's what gave me the kind of freedom and like the ramp almost is like that energy existed and it was kind of, the available peaks that we could hit were because of what you gave me. Like, if I had to kind of ramp into that kind of shoutcasting, I mean, probably I wouldn't have tried to get to that same level because it'd be too jarring,
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's where the duo mentality has to be acknowledged, because I think that anything I did was improved by the quality of what you were doing. So if it's a reflection of your ability off of me, I did a better job because you were killing it today.
Of course. The classic JD takes credit.
Huh?
Classic This is a podcast.
I'm giving you credit for my goodness.
You are.
It's the inverse.
Sorry.
It's the contrapositive.
Sorry. 2 years of us talking. I'm getting baited by some common tactics. Yeah, no, dude. Thank you so much. I'm really happy. Like, dude, I felt like the energy. I mean, like, I didn't expect myself to come out swinging for the gate, because like even like I messaged you, I'm like, dude, I'm kind of just like excited, nervous right now. Like, we're gonna kill it, but I'm like definitely excited, nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think like even like in the beginning, you're like, dude, just like you doubt yourself a little bit too much. Like, just go for like if you're gonna go for it, just go for it and run it. And I felt like that set the tone. But also, I have to say, dude, I feel like I was just so like. I mean, and this whole podcast, right, is about like authenticity and stuff like that, and we talk about that, and I feel like I was like so authentically excited. Like, I didn't know that I could cast like that. Actually, I wasn't expecting it, JD. I just didn't expect it, but I feel like I was just so excited because of the like back end research I did. Like, because I knew that I did all of that, and I was like, okay, I don't have to like worry about knowing X, or I know X about this player. Like, I felt so confidently going into it. And then also like when we did our like backroom unintentional odd commentary analysis, and you mentioning like, hey, like I want to do these things, how do I aggressive, like you can like write both, like I said like, hey JD, like you talked for like 3 stocks in a row, but you were like, but I gave you like, there are some times where you could interrupt and stuff like that and bring in the energy, but you have to like take it. And I felt like I took that to heart. And even funny enough, as like I was listening to some commentary this morning as I was just kind of getting ready, and what's interesting is I didn't look at my favorite commentator, Sajam, right? I looked at his co-host, his duo partner, Tasty Steve, who is the hype person. And I actually was watching where, because I know this just because I'm a fan of his YouTube, that Sajam's best commentary was winners finals of EVO 2019 Dragon Ball Fighters, Goichi versus Sonic Fox. It was really interesting because he was talking so much about the play-by-play. It was so on point that it shut up Steve. And so then I could pay attention to, well, when does Steve actually talk then in it, right? And then that's where I started adding in the like verbal, like, oh, like, like there were actual like times where like I was hyped, but I like expressed it with like a sound or something like that, which I felt like also like gave as a opener if I wanted to choose to like jump in and cut you off. But if I didn't, you like reacted pretty well and just kept talking, which I thought was really, really good. But I was not expecting to like cast like that going in. It kind of just like was the vibe.
Yeah, no, I think energy, and that was the first break. Actually, funny enough, I think I said I don't want to overanalyze, and I stopped myself. I'm like, you know what, we'll talk about it after. And literally what you just said was what I was thinking. That being, I could tell you were your preparation gave you confidence. which was huge because that's kind of the only difference. It's not like you're, but from this time from the last block is you're any more experienced, frankly, than, it's not like an experience thing. It's literally just like a kind of more of a conscious decision of just like, all right, fuck it, let's run this. Let's allow the excitement to kind of be less filtered. I will say, and I don't want to come across critical because whatever.
Go for it.
I think what might be a next thing to work on for you is a couple very specific things. One, and actually you got trolled in chat a little bit. You said my name about 35 times. And that is not too much more than it needs to be, but I think it was something that like once it got pointed out, the kind of ceiling broke, and it was just very noticeable after that point.
Interesting. Okay.
And so, I think, and I was kind of keeping tabs on the Twitch chat. They were being a little BM about it. Frankly, it's hard to give feedback without seeming BM, but also they could have been a little less of a dick about it.
No, I'm actually curious what Twitch chat said though, because again, like with the name thing specifically, that was like a conscious decision based on like our like talk yesterday.
Sure.
But I see, I mean, obviously like it's a double-edged sword, so I kind of see it. I'm actually curious, like, what other stuff on your mind, or what stuff did like Twitch chat kind of notice in the blog?
That was the only thing they noticed. Okay, and that's cool. That's why I led with it.
Oh, that was the only thing? That's kind of hype.
Well, yeah, there's other things I noticed that are like, they're all small deals, right? It's just
of course.
Little things that perhaps are noticeable and I think are very tweakable, obviously. The JD thing, I get the impulse. I think it's just a
it's not the right filler.
It's the right use when it's a handoff, but you were doing it more as like an emphasis on a point. So if you took it, if you already have it and you're starting a thought, you would use it then as well, and that just kind of doubled it up, right? So if you're gonna use it as the indicator of like, I don't know what's going on, JD, this is crazy, then you get my attention and my brain goes, is this a handoff? And it is. So then I take it. Perfect. And if it was just that, I don't think it would be overused. If you used it every single time you wanted to hand it off, I still don't think it would have been overused.
But I used it like as a descriptor. Like, JD, I cannot believe what these two players are doing. Like, did you see what Frenzy did? Yeah, I get that.
Precisely. Yeah. So that's an easy adjustment, right? I think.
Yeah, super. Yeah, I think that's easy.
Just again, like, I don't know what I need to be called out on. I kind of wish someone BM'd me because it's just one of those things that like we can't know until we, like, when you showed me the kind of the run on that I had, the coming back and being too early on that shoutcasting, because it was 3 stocks to 3. That's something I didn't know until you pointed it out to me. So yeah, we don't have to. I'll get on to the next point because I'm trying to even remember, because it again wasn't that obvious. I think. Well, the other thing was what was the analysis perhaps too late in a game?
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, that kind of leads me into my thought about your thing.
Please.
Is I feel like you are at a point in the game, like, so okay, here's my opinion of like how I thought we did analysis really well. So don't get me wrong there.
Sure.
I think you have a good knack of, and maybe this is more of a wish than a critique. Actually, that's the best way to put it, but I feel like you have a knack of being able to explain large concepts into like simplified terms. And again, like, I was just listening for fun, like, again, shout outs to the Mix Up. Like, I was listening to the State of the Melee like episode that they did with Aiden, and Aiden said like one thing also is like, oh, the people that complain about like, oh, didn't you know that like X% does this with Peach or what, yada yada yada. It's like, that's not the common viewer. The common viewer is like, not like arguably like just barely PR in the early region, or not at all for the most part, right? And you have to kind of like think about like who your audience is, and maybe that's why I did like a little bit less analysis compared to like when we did Sunday Beatdown a few times, but and tried to go like more cerebral, like meta topics. But I think that you could push your, like, I feel like I wish that you had a little bit more insight on like specific nuance analytics, because I feel like it would bring life to your play-by-play a lot more. Because I think at times and this is me being critical also as a as a player trying to get good. So I acknowledge the irony in this,
Sure.
is that I think that like if you want to go down the route of play by play, like you if you added like a like the best thing for you is like in my head is like if you say a play by play, throw in a quick fact, and somehow the people listening are suddenly better at the game for it. And I feel like right now it's they understand what's going on, but I feel like you could push that if you knew a little bit more nuanced stuff. And I'm not saying memorize percent. It's just like depends on what you want to pick, whether that's neutral game, whether that's punish game, or you could also go the route. I feel like some casters go the route of psychology, right? Like what are these two players feeling right now in a play by play aspect? And I feel like that's your call to make, but I feel like it would give life to a standard play by play comms of Melee, because it's tough. Play by play is tough anywhere, and especially tough when we're given like 5 fucking Fox Dittos, which I love, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
but we also saw the pinnacle of shit. This match is going really fast.
Yeah, I think there's 2 avenues to improve at play by play, and you touched on the one I haven't touched on yet, which is like obviously I need to have the recall and have to be able to articulate very quickly and keep the energy of the match while also maintaining a certain flow above an energy level. That's where my mind is working on now. And you're absolutely right. It's kind of like learning piano versus learning music theory. Like you can learn just practicing the game, just practicing piano of doing the scales and doing the chord progressions. But if you don't know like what you're doing and what you're talking about, it's not like you're not a piano player. It's not like you were trash at this side of it as well. It's just you won't be able to do little flourishes. You won't be able to elevate in certain ways that differentiate. And so I agree. If I'm not even just like always learning new things, but keeping my mind on the top of the meta at any point, like and this is what I'm saying. This is the strength that you have, and I think we'll also learn this as we go along. I get to kind of piggyback and learn from you as you're learning these concepts, and you kind of I can coattails that with you a little. Because I mean, talking about that and having that be our foundation for inter-game stuff, being some psychology, and I'm not going to pick a route. I think it's just
it's a balance. I was just trying to like simplify.
No, you're right. You're right that there are different kind of branches, right? But I definitely agree. That's something that the long tail of it is if I can just call out the technical stuff and have it be so familiar to me that I can call out an ASDI grab reversal under the threshold of percentages. If I don't have to use my mental stack towards remembering what's happening, I can just bam do it. That you're 1,000,000,000% right. That just makes it a tastier play-by-play analysis, because that's also going to make the high level players like me more, because everyone knows that a back air off stage, blah blah blah. I think I do have obviously a foundational skill. I don't really study the game anymore, but you know for sure I've picked a lot of things up, and so kind of that's the next thing to push. I think that's a great critique from you. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I think also like the thing is it's also like you kill 2 birds with 1 stone, again, if you have the capacity and like time to do it, because like it improves your commentary and it also improves your gameplay, so like why not, right? Sure. But I think like and that's the thing, is that's why maybe my analysis, thinking back, wow, this is getting really meta, is that my analytical side like went on, like was not as well timed. Like our starting critique, right, was like overdoing the analytics, like, or mistiming it is a better word for it. And I think it's because I wanted to give you that knowledge so that you could do the play-by-play.
Sure.
And I think subconsciously I was trying to do that because I feel like, so in my head, good play-by-play, so solid play-by-play is keeping the energy up. And that's like, I know that's what you're working on. And I think honestly you did a really good job today about it.
Thanks.
I think good play-by-play is being able to call out what happens and articulate it quickly in the manner so that the audience then knows the cool little thing that just happened and why that interaction should be hype, even if it's not a like 6-0 to death. Great play-by-play, in my opinion, is you as the commentator know like what both players are playing for in that moment, and can build a mini story ahead of time so that when it happens you can just be like, see, there it is type thing. And
Yeah,
I feel like I
keep
hit that.
threads. Yeah.
I feel like I hit that and got really lucky on it at times.
I literally
But
called it
like,
out. I'm like, dude, you're literally everything you're saying is coming true as you're saying it.
yeah, but I feel like that comes out especially in like Fox matchups with percents, because like I narrate the story of like, this is what both of these players are looking for. These are what options they actually need, not
Mm-hmm.
just a hit. And I feel like not overgeneralizing that is so crucial, especially arguably in this newer melee meta where it's like those, it's not about just hit, don't get hit. It's hit the right way or get hit but tweak it so that it like actually messes the attacker up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like yeah, I think that's my theory on play by play actually.
Yeah, I mean, play by play is kind of uncharted territory in the game.
Yeah.
Not a lot of commentators are committing to it. It can be really embarrassing. The first time I tried it, um, I mean, it was when I was living here, so it's
Yeah.
recent, and it was a European tournament, the one I woke up really early for,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw an opportunity to, like, it was an extended edge guard part, Fox versus Peach, and I was into that Rap God video of that Dota scene,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the commentator I want to be. And there's a lot of steps to get to where it is great, like we're saying, and I'm happy that you're spending time with me, like talking through it, as well as giving me the space to get the reps in, and I think I'm happy that I've developed the para commentary skills, like we talk about, like
Mm-hmm.
talking on the podcast,
Yeah.
improv, freestyle rapping, even a little bit, like
Us
those.
just knowing each other too, I think is
Oh my god,
underrated.
dude, us being a duo is so
Yeah.
fucking sick. I can't believe this is still so new. We're so early on.
It's not like our fourth cast,
I
which is like why
know.
I'm like, yeah, like we're gonna mess up on stuff for sure.
Yeah, no, I honestly, like, we are doing the right thing, which is like we popped off, we were excited about how well it went, and then we went immediately into how we can improve. And that's the juicy part. That's the really cool thing here is like I feel the high, I feel the rush of doing the thing, and
Yeah.
I see the path not towards like I really am happy that my mind goes more towards like how do we get good at this rather than how do we get like big gigs or how do we get known for this, because the setup we have now where like Europe is still underrated, it's still underviewed in terms of these tournaments, and so this is just the perfect training ground for us to just maintain what they're throwing us, like
Yeah.
these top 8 on locals, perfect, these up to top 8 on
Road to top 8 is like arguably the best.
it's the best slot.
Yeah,
It's an
it's the best
insane slot. So like I think we are meeting the moment right now and just doing the work. Fucking meta talk. I'm sorry. Let me get back to like one thing I think we could also get reps on. And I think I'm done giving you giving you criticism. I think I'm done like with anything I had like, oh, Will could work on this,
Mhm.
because this might be shitty to say. I think you're still so new as a commentator that
No, that's completely correct.
yeah, so I think one thing you mentioned was like the authenticity of your energy. 1 billion% was authentic. You carried the energy you had. And I think the next step in refinement is not to cut down on that energy. It's not to filter the energy. It's to bring the authenticity to your voice, because a commentator voice does not have to be something so different and so obvious from your regular speaking voice. I think
Yeah.
podcasting, we both learned on the job pretty much how to just show up and start talking. And that's why I think we have a good product now compared to when we started, is the
Hmm.
pressure's off. We're in our comfort zone. We did the reps to the point where when you're talking on the phone with me versus the podcast, I literally forget we're recording sometimes, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
commentary is tricky because it's so unnatural. Like nobody just like gets on a phone call and watches an off mic, off recorded, like just commentating melee, So it's a different skill to build, and it's gonna take a while to be fully. I mean, shit, I have more experience commentating than you. I'm still learning so much on how to maintain authenticity while still being a performer, and
Hmm.
so I think that is just something that hasn't. It's sick because like this is what the first time we did it, I'm like, fuck, Will, like, give me something that I'm better at here. Like, give me something that I have more, like, talent towards. And the only talent I have over you is that I like being in front of people more than you. That's the only, like, thing I'm better at. It's just
I
that
think
desire.
you're sick at commentary.
Well,
I think you're super sick at commentary, though.
Been doing it for years now, and I think just from what I've seen and the people I've commentated with, like, your baseline is pretty nuts. It's just going to come across like finding authenticity in how much you are happy to be there is a huge first step. And now it's just going to be like, you know, how well do you think you are settling in? How well do you feel comfortable, not with silence, but with just like from hype into the next decline, and trusting that is still part of the story, you know, like the post climax of a story, the beginning of act 2 of a story, like that shit is. And in stand up, my experience is in between jokes, just allowing, even if it's not silence or settling in, it's really hard not to just like go back into the next thing or keep it up at a certain level, and that takes a lot of time. So I hope that's not even considered a criticism. It's just definitely
not at all. I am, dude. It's like my 5th cast. Like,
I know, it's nuts.
Like, it's literally like, yeah, that sounds like, literally in my head, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
like that's what I thought as well. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, like, I mean, that's what's exciting, right? Also, like, why that top 8 local is really important, just to kind of like test things out, but we also get a lot of floaty matchups just inherently. So it's like, it was interesting. It was almost too crazy. I gotta say, it was on the edge of too crazy today because of just like how fast those matchups were. Like, I don't remember Frenzy Mint, if that makes sense. I actually don't really remember it.
I do,
because it was just so crazy. Yeah, no,
Definitely,
I think. Yeah, I mean, overall, I think we did good. Last thing I want to say before we like just like, you know, do our our usual like catch up, right? Is I thought we handled humor pretty well. I thought there was like little quips that we had, and your Pictionary drawing was hilarious
so
too. that I thought was really good. I thought we like were able to somehow like incorporate jokes in it that I like was actually like pretty surprised about.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
and that just came with practice, like, and doing our like weekly thing. But yeah,
I think, yeah, obviously we talk about like the foundation we've established, just knowing each other and talking to each other for so long is huge, where we can kind of, I still can't get over that one fucking joke you made. I think it was last week, where like I said something weird and you're like, not your best work, JD. And then just like kept going with it. And like, that's the shit that is just, you know, as we keep going, we're going to keep finding like, just the shoe-ins. Like, what are the moments that we can do that? Thanks for I had this and I was literally going to not fuck around and use it for something serious. And I realized that like I started drawing a Falco and I'm like, all right, I think I could deliver this. So
yeah, show the Falco though, because so people can see.
Oh, on YouTube, it's like,
yeah.
So the setup of it was, I'm like, the game was over and you were like, thoughts on that match, JD, before we head into a break, or I don't know what it was. And I was like, yeah, well, you know, I have a pen and paper here. I think that there's some interesting nuance to the Falco Sheik matchup that it's almost hard to talk about. So I wanted to show it. And it's definitely a reason why Falco is strong in the matchup. If you could just see this little, and I point out this dumbass bird with like
big arms and a gun,
no legs. And I'm like,
legs, yeah.
And I just straight faced it the whole time. Like, you can kind of see why Falco would be so strong against a character like Sheik. And this gun is just absolutely terrifying.
That's funny.
So I appreciate liking that. And I think
I couldn't stop laughing on that one. Actually, it caught me off guard.
That's what makes a good setup is, you know? Yeah. So basically, like, first off, thanks for like rolling with it, because it wasn't really something I ran by you. I just kind of busted it. And that sort of thing is totally like, I don't think it matters what tournament we're hosting. I don't think it matters like when in the tournament or whatever's going on. I think finding opportunities to experiment and be silly
Yeah.
is what is another just thing that we have without really needing to practice it. It's just something me and you both kind of have the
Yeah.
urge for, and really it just needs to break through our love for the game. Like
And we
it's
just have to do it at every event. Like it doesn't matter if it's a local or like an online major or anything like
we'll
that. Like
find it.
we'll
I
find it.
guess,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess my point is like we don't need to force it. We don't need
Oh
to
yeah. Yeah.
look for those moments. And sometimes I think a criticism of Smash commentary at large is
Hmm.
like they're looking at the slime style and saying like, oh, I need at least a little bit of that. I need to find my jokes. I need to blah blah blah.
There's only like one slime. That's the problem.
Slime, yeah, Slime's a 31-year-old joke writer in California. He has been
And
doing,
producer,
yeah,
and yeah.
so he has been doing comedy in and out of Melee for years, and that's who he is, and that's just like
Hmm.
not even his brand. That's just like in his guts. And so
Yeah.
I definitely, we've talked about I'm more inclined to comedy than you. Obviously, I care about it way
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
But just the energy, I think, and the space that we give each event,
Hmm.
that's gonna allow us to fuck around and find moments to be silly and have fun pretty easily.
Yeah. Pretty easily. I agree. And kind of close it. I'm curious. You know what's funny is I wonder if I know we talked about it a little bit during one of the breaks, but the main, are you curious on like the three things I was working on at Smash Sauna?
No,
It
I
was
mean
it
I
was
don't know. I'm curious. Yeah.
yeah. So it was, as they said, rolling to ads, like segueing to ads. I think was a big thing, and
Mm-hmm.
opening into the stream. Like so transitions, right? We can simplify it and say transitions. The second thing was talking about like sponsors, and then the third thing, which was the most mixed bag, and in my head like there are a few phrases that I'm like I don't know if that suits me really well, but was like coming up with like quick, like not to have a catchphrase on purpose, but quick things that it's like, oh, the viewer automatically knows what just happened, right? So I
Mm.
tried party time and bust ass the most, and I don't think bust ass, like I might throw it here and there, but I don't think it really fit me. But I do actually really like party time, because I also do feel confident on knowing when it is party time for a character.
That's pretty funny. Okay.
So but I think like I'm definitely gonna just keep on experimenting with that. But I really tried to be like, because I was listening to some Yipes commentary, and I was like he has so many like transition words to like instantly bring in the hype out of nowhere, right?
Mm.
When something unexpected happens. And so I thought that like was on my mind like as we went into the block.
Yeah, I think playing around with that is great. You might be onto something with kind of establishing certain, I guess, catchphrases, but more particularly just indicators of something that's going to happen time and time again, and a way to allow everyone to flip into a different mode.
Yes, yeah.
So and it goes both ways. It goes from slower into more hype, and it also goes from like, hold on, we're gonna there might be a way to bring it into analysis real quick
Hmm.
and be like, one thing there I really like might be super overused, but that attitude is to go from, all right, it's hype, 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 hype. Let's take a moment. Let's dive in. Um,
Yeah.
that uh, that's definitely something that could be worked on, and I would just say, as you're prioritizing that sort of stuff, I guess just keep experimenting, like play around for
Yeah,
a
yeah.
while. Because I like party time too. I think it's early for both of us to know what
No,
feels
no, yeah.
best. But man, if you get a nice like little rotation, so every time you do bring something in for a block, it feels fresh. Party time could be forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's less about the catchphrase and more about like what is something that a caster can say so that people instantly know what's happening right now. You know,
Yeah,
it's like almost a reset, right? Like
yeah, yeah.
because you don't know what's gonna happen in the set, and then all of a sudden, like exactly like game two of like or last game with Pipsqueak, like he slowly just like gets the opening and like runs train on ice, right? It's like how do you instantly say that in like the least amount of words, and it obviously it has to be like a catchphrase type of thing. So that's really interesting. But that's kind of all my thoughts with commentary. I'm like, it's definitely like a high. I'm really happy with how I did, and I still love doing mainly just the EU scene because it's like it's both underrated and also again like as a player I like have no qualms not entering.
Yeah.
You know?
No, yeah. I every single time I bring it up on the cast, like, thank you for bringing us on. It's fully authentic. Like, I am so grateful for
Mhm.
this opportunity because it just works out.
Yeah, we need to say thank you also afterwards.
Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah,
In the Discord. Will, did you know we've been talking for 45 minutes about
Jesus Christ. Okay.
after? So let's do this because we have a 15-minute little thing. I think you talked about your runs from 2 weekends ago. Let's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
let's smush those together. We wanted to record last week. You know, true fans know that we're a week. We skipped a week. I don't know if you could hear my dog in the background. I think it's about time that I log off. So if you're
Yeah,
okay
I
with
agree.
that, we'll keep this tight. We did a really great job today. I'm really happy that we've been spending this time to both prepare yesterday and to debrief today.
Yeah.
And shit, man, I'll see you next week for another top 8 block.
Dude, I know. I'm pretty hyped. And the thing I thought about is like, dude, and I know that like we have the summit qualifier, but the same circuit continues till the end of the year,
Yeah, I know.
which means that we do one big event a month, which is kind of really hype.
Fingers crossed if they want us
Fingers
back.
crossed. Yeah, if they want us back. But I mean, yeah, I mean, we don't have to get too much into like the bracket. I think like the best summary I can give is
You
like,
already did. You already did.
yeah, yeah, I already did.
I'm literally saying we have the 15 minutes of you going
Oh,
over
oh,
that.
we have the 15. I thought you said give 15. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no,
So
no, no.
let's ship this. Let's ship this episode. Let's enjoy the rest of our Sundays. You
Yeah,
can get to
man.
your famous dog
My famous
and
Maple.
yeah, Maple always interrupting the podcast.
But
Not a
yeah,
fan. Not a fan.
look, man. Send me anything you got. I know. You're probably gonna do some VOD analysis soon. If not, then I'll be surprised. But
Maybe I'm watching Street Fighter for the rest of the day.
all
So,
right.
but I'm curious. If you see anything cool in chat, both like good compliments or critiques, like can you screenshot that for me? I have a feeling that you'll do VOD analysis before I do.
We'll see. I might have to finish my shed first, which
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll be releasing some a little video. I'm doing a little progress video with this manual labor, which has been pretty rewarding. I'm a couple days in, so
Awesome. Well, enjoy
yeah, man,
again, dude. It was so fun. Yeah, let's say thank you and ship this episode.
for sure. All right, well, catch you later, Will, and talk soon.
Yeah, talk soon. Peace.
I'm good. Right now, I just came off a therapy session. It's 8 a.m. for you, so we might start off a little cozy, a little slow, but yeah, I got a jam-packed morning, and I know you've been coming up with our topics, so I'm doing good. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing pretty good. I'm like kind of tired. I've been staying up late. First off, watching Tiramisu's Slay the Spire runs lately.
Oh, word.
He just tied the world record for consecutive A20, which is the hardest difficulty
Oh, wow.
runs and it's at 18 now. So he's one away. Fingers crossed, knock on wood for me. But I watched runs 17 and 18 and they're crazy. Like they are these like 7-hour runs of just like talking to yourself and calculations and dealing with RNG and stuff like that.
Wow.
It's really crazy. I'm like, wow, like he can only fit like one run in, and it's like 1 a.m. my end, and so I'm like, shit, it's like 4 a.m. his end. So like, it's just crazy.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. But it's just been a pleasure to watch him, and that's a good little plug for our little tiramisu highlight 1v1 episode.
Yeah,
on YouTube
absolutely.
So check that out. I mean, he tying the world record at 18. That's crazy, but I know he's going for more. So as a friend, I'm rooting for him, and that's all I can say. But talking about rooting for people, your boy entered 2 back-to-back brackets this weekend. It kind of felt a little bit like a major. Just I was sitting right here, playing, but it was kind of crazy because I went on a run where I didn't play well at all, but just hung on and like endured, and that's probably why I was talking a lot about it in our commentary block, which we'll get into the second half of the episode. And then and that was Levo, and then I also entered Ginger's Pot of Gold tournament, and that was fun as well, and I was happy that I did both. But I honestly really pushed myself because like on yesterday, I like literally could only play like 2 hours of melee. I was like so done with it.
Only 2 hours. Okie doke. Well, if that's your burnout, then I think we know the rest. But yeah, you talked to me a little bit about Levo, but just fill me in as if I know nothing about either one of these tournaments. How much of a bracket recap do you want to do? This is all you, man. Whatever you want to talk about, go for it.
Yeah, yeah. I think with Levo, I think the interesting thing coming here was really just the fact that like I just wanted to enter again, as we've been talking about like for multiple episodes, just to kind of get the reps in.
Hmm.
And I was a little bit nervous about Levo because like Pot of Gold, I signed up because originally you had to like sub, and I was like, I'm already doing like other stuff and saving money and stuff like that. So I didn't really want to do the sub for the tournament. And then I saw it was free, and I was like, oh word. So I just signed up. And so I was prepping for Sunday, right? And then after that, I saw that I'm like, oh, Levo's tomorrow also. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm already sub to Leffen. Why not? Like let's just enter and see what happens, right? And so I make it out of pools into like top, whatever, I think top 16 or whatever of the bracket. Um and again, just to put reps in, and I played Curve the first round, who form like mostly a Fox main now, but was ranked top 100 with Luigi. Uses Luigi for some matchups, which is really interesting. And then essentially, I lost a really really tough game 5 to him. And when I say tough, I mean in a way where I think I just like is one of those where where you have like the closest like first set, and then and it kind of throws you off, right, for the rest of the set. And that's what it was, and I was just barely hanging on. But it was really dumb because I was so scared that I would miss my ledge dashes that I like just stopped going to ledge completely.
Oh
I
man.
went straighter up. Like that's how nervous I was, right? And I think like it went to a game 5, and by the end of game 5, like I just couldn't handle it. Like he was full hopping and kind of just like really abusing a lot of like my nervousness and playing well too. Like I don't get me wrong. Uh but what's crazy about that was, I left game 5 pretty disappointed, honestly, because like I just played him, and then I played him in my first match of top 16 of the West Coast bracket. And I was sad because I was like, oh man, I really want to do this. And then I played, kind of over the next 2 sets against Furniture, a Puff main, and Christos, a Fox main, which I 3-0'd both of them. I kind of came to the realization a little bit beforehand that I'm like, dude, why am I playing so fucking scared?
Hmm.
Like if I'm gonna go in flames, like I should just like do it. Like I should just fucking go at it. And I think what like it was just like kind of just like accepting that I'm gonna be scared and nervous in those moments, and just like dealing it when that happens and not dealing with it like beforehand. And then also just thinking about funny enough, the video that I made, Welcome to Melee, and I think about the quote that I put in the middle by fucking Jurgen Klopp, the manager of Liverpool, such a cool dude. And he goes, "We want to enjoy our own game." And if you and granted, I just cut out that like 1 second clip, but I listened to like the full interview, and I remember him talking about like, yeah, like we just want to play our game. This is how we play. If we're gonna lose, like we're gonna play entertaining football till the end. And we just want to enjoy our own game. And that's the quote I ended up putting in the video, which surprisingly also, quick tangent, at 12K now, which is ridiculous, JD.
That's really
I am
good.
so happy
It's showing
about
up
that.
on people's wow, my voice is too loud. Sorry that. But yeah, dude, the it's showing up on people's like main pages. The thumbnail is just so enticing.
Yeah,
It's crushing it. It's getting the numbers,
I'm so
man.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was funny because I thought back to that video and that quote of "we want to enjoy our own game," and I'm like, fuck it, like I want to like play the melee that I enjoy. I want to play entertaining melee to me, not to anyone else. I wasn't streaming or anything like that, right? And I just wanted to enjoy my own game. And then um and so I just 3-0'd both Furniture and Christos, and then I had to play Zane Jr., aka Lucky Smarth, to
Okay, I thought you
uh
meant Kadoran.
no, Lucky Smarth. He was playing secondaries. He was playing Falcon and Marth until top 8, and then he was gonna go Fox. And that was one of those where it started like how you'd expect, a little bit stiff. You get 0 to death the first top
Sure.
set game
The
1.
classic against top player secondaries is just like you're like, what do I do?
Yeah,
And then they just do the thing. Yeah, it's so funny.
you get tippered on top flat, like, and then we play it out. It was close, and I win game 2 and 4, and eventually we go to game 5. And the games have been close. Like I lost last stock both on Yoshi's game 1 and on FD game 3. And we go Pokemon, and I'm like, cool. I like Pokemon. Like that's what's gonna happen. And really, like there were messy parts of it. The dude hits like most of the his SDIs on the up airs. It was infuriating. Like even on low percents, it was ridiculous. Um, but I managed to hang on. Granted, I don't think his recovery was the best, and then he even admitted that as well. So, but it goes to last stock, and somehow, some way, he he it was just me literally hanging on, right? Like hang on by a thread. Like, even in the past games, it'd be like, okay, like I take a stock at 130. Okay, like can I gain another 40%? Can I gain another 50%? And just like hang on and hold the lead, hold it, but without being like super retreating, without like ruining my game plan and like, throwing out the window. And game 5, like I just kept on bringing it, and we go last stock. He hits the SDI. I air dodge out. We kind of reset. He shields. I run up, grab again, and get the up air, and he doesn't SDI it to take game 5. And I like literally like shook the house. Like I literally just screamed from the top of my lungs because I was like so hype and excited, and it was just big. And it wasn't because like I mean like it's Lucky Smarth, so it's like there's obviously an asterisk and stuff like that, but it's like just to win a game 5, a tense situation, like on the box with my hands like literally like shaking like this, which like we've talked about, like in a controller you at least grip something, but like on the box you're just like floating it, and it's just like when it's going like this, like all your inputs are just like so much worse. And I just like yelled, and then I had to play. I was in top 8, loser side, and I had to play Golden or Dawson first. I had to play Dawson first. And that was also interesting because it was a very similar theme to um to the Lucky set, where it was literally me enduring specifically. When you're like against a really good patient puff, like you're down like a stock and it feels like a fucking mountain to climb.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's like the same thing that happened to me game 4 and 5, and again, like with like a lot, not the best gameplay, but like literally just not doing anything stupid at the same time. And I was so happy because like it was like my in-game knowledge was there even if my execution wasn't. And so even when I like was doing not the best stuff, I wasn't like trying to overextend myself or like put myself in a bad situation. Like I kind of just like reset and played with like where I was at, which was like fucking terrified and nervous, JD. And just the kind of the cards fell in the right places. Like there were like whiffed air like stuff, like a whiffed forward smash is what closed game 5, and I got the up throw up air, and it was really just like my ability to endure the pressure again and also just close stocks. That was it. It was like really shit gameplay outside of that. It was just the fact that I didn't do anything stupid. I held on to the pressure, and I uh was practiced and warmed up all my kill setups. That was it. And that got me through game 5. And again, I yelled. I was like verbally yelling. I popped off, and then I was waiting for a hot minute to play Golden, another puff. And funny enough, with my CLG lesson that I did a while back, which I need to release an episode about, actually. I just thought about that because I have the recording of it with
Mm-hmm.
Coach Bobby, SFAT, and Pew Pew. They talk about this concept of um to release like physical tension, or to release like anxiety kind of and stress kind of lives in the body, like when your shoulders feel tense and stuff like that, your hands are shaking. you need something to do something physical to release that tension rather than like just like taking deep breaths and stuff like that, which I started doing. Actually, I started doing box breathing and like some breathing exercises to kind of like help me get through like the moments where I can't, like jump up and down or do push-ups or stuff like that, which has been helping. And I can go into that if you're curious a little bit later. But I decided with this like hour and a half long block, maybe like hour 15, I went for a run actually.
There it
Um,
is. Nice.
and I like both celebrated like beating Lucky Smart and Dawson, but also just was really really happy. And was happy about that, but I just did 2 laps around my block, which were good, and that kind of just like regulated my like physical emotions, like physical tension really well, and my emotions, and I came into the golden set fucking on fire, and that was like felt like close to peak game. Like I took Dreamland game 2, he barely took Dreamland game 3, and then game 4 was a classic FD counter pick, 4 stocks to 1. He takes the stock and just SDs because he knows how it's gonna end
Damn,
already.
dude.
And yeah, I know. I played it out in my mind, and really going on that run was so cool. Looking back at it, just because it was just like I've never done that before, and I tend to hold tension and be a more nervous player. That's why, like, even in IRL events, like I'll tell like homies like you, like, hey, like I'm doing my own thing. Like, don't try to talk to me about Leffen and chillin' dude right now,
Sure.
type of thing.
Sure.
And so yeah, and then I was sitting in loser semis, staring down the curve matchup again, and by that time, I unfortunately got 3-0'd by him with the 4th place finish. His Fox was really good. He was playing really hot, and he ended up winning the tournament, which was crazy, over Eddie Mexico in a like game 10 bracket reset. So that was nuts. In itself, over beating like I think he had like 6 game 5s, which was crazy also.
Jesus.
Yeah, so the guy was running hot. But 4th place finish at Levo, and I'm really happy about that. Like especially with the way that it all kind of unfolded. Uh, just the anxiety, the game 5s, finally clutching it twice even after missing it one time. Re-regulating myself. It really was super good, and just to go into the ginger pot of gold quickly.
How long do you have? Because I think we might need to take a break.
Yeah. This is pretty quick.
Cool.
Is Yeah, like I beat Alp, which I'm pretty happy about, in a game 3 situation. Again, keeping my cool, but like, and I lost to Polish and Zamu, unfortunately, immediately into top 64, which is tough. But overall, I wasn't really nervous that tournament, and that's all thanks to the Levo run. Honestly, like I just like had like kind of like this belief of like, okay, you can do it. And even against Polish and Zamu, I thought I like played to the best I could, and like was just outplayed at that point with the game plan that I had, rather than me being like mom spaghetti on the set. And I'm pretty happy with like how that all worked out. So it's been a wild weekend for me, JD.
Yeah, 2 pretty big brackets in a row. Definitely something we got to dive into a little more. Unfortunately, we do need to head into a break. Usually, we're not time crunched like this, so apologies. But for everyone else, we'll be right back. We'll hold on to those thoughts, and we'll talk real soon.